Okay, I'm going to show you a really awesome technique that I show some of my advanced students, but mainly coaching students, mastermind students, how to make good informed rational decisions. It's called a decision matrix, okay? So check this out. Uh, Basically, good old-fashioned matrix, okay? You got rows and columns, okay? Across the top, these are the choices you can make. These are the options you have in your decision process. You know, let's say you're looking to invest. Let's say you're working with a new client. You want to show this to your client to help them decide what to do. There's marketing campaigns, obviously, you should do that pre-screen and help you make better choices in your clients. Okay, initially, you always your marketing is your best screening tool. But let's say you land a client and they're just deciding, you know, whether they should flip. Let's say flip. They might want to buy a rental or two, or maybe they want a wholesale. Okay. Now they can't really decide which way to go. So what you do is you look at all these variables. So these are the choices they can make. The columns, and the rows are the variables. So let's draw some columns here. Okay. And the rows are going to be things like you know, how much money do they have? You know, let's just say how much money. How much time do they have? Okay, how much time do they have? You know, how about this? What is the long-term goal? So let's just say long-term goal. Let's see what else. Maybe they've got some family. Okay. Maybe they're a parent, okay? Maybe they already have a job. Maybe they already have another job, okay? And they may consider leaving that job, for example, okay? There's a number of variables we can go with. This is just 5, okay? I'm just going to kind of show you the format here. So when it comes to determining if they should buy flips, buy rentals, or wholesale, oh, sorry, one more thing. How about credibility? How's your credit? Let's say they really don't have a lot of money, but they have some sort of scale of 1 to 10. Let's say money is going to be really important, really relevant. Let's say relative to flipping relative to money, how is important to them that they have a lot of money? Well, flipping, I would say, you know, it's kind of important. It's better to flip a home when you have some cash. If you have to borrow to buy the house, you got to borrow to remodel the house, all this kind of stuff. Like with hard money loans, you're just in debt up to your eyeballs, and you're not going to have much left over at the end of the day. Let's say money would be pretty important, like an 8. Okay? Let's say for rentals, you know, money is always important when it comes to flipping or buying rentals and all that. But let's say it's not as important because they could buy a property with 20% down and finance the rest, 80% finance and still cash flow. So maybe money is like a 4 there. When it comes to wholesaling, of course, you don't need much money. You don't need much cash or credit. So it's it's least important. Okay, let's say time right now. Let's say they don't have a lot of time. They just don't have a lot of time, right? Well, as you might imagine, owning rentals is going to take you some time over time. Over time, it'll take, let's say it's a high factor, that's like an 8. Wholesaling, you know, quite frankly, depending on how you do it, it can take a lot of time, but if you do it the right way, it's not that critical. It doesn't, you know, you don't have to actually buy the place, you just have to get it under contract. You don't have to remodel the place, you just sell it to the contractor or someone else. So let's say that's more like a 3, okay? And when it comes to flipping, you know, chances are you're going to want to like stay on top of the project. So time would be a pretty high factor there, all right? Pretty high factor. While you're going through the project, you don't want to just let the contractor go and be on the road and never go look at the place, right? How about long-term goal? Let's say the long-term goal is they want to have substantial wealth and income. Well, I can tell you, wholesaling is like a job. If you stop wholesaling, your money stops coming in, so that's going to be maybe like a 2. On rentals, definitely long-term buy and hold will definitely give you long-term, you know, equity and cash flow, so that's going to be like a 10. On flipping, not as bad as wholesaling, but let's face it, if you make a business out of flipping and you stop flipping, where your income stops. Okay, even though the paychecks are bigger than wholesaling, chances are though, you know, if you stop flipping, you're not going to have anything left over. You're just not going to have any cash flow coming in. So that would be down there like a 4 maybe, okay? Let's say family. How does this impact your family? Well, I can tell you right now, all of these will impact your time with your family. Wholesaling will probably have the least impact, so let's make that like an 8. Rentals will have definitely some impact. Let's make that a 5. Let's make a 5 for flipping too. Relative, this is the impact to your family life, right? Now, a job, how you know, let's say this has to do with, do they want to leave their job? They're doing this because they don't want to have a job anymore. Well, what's most likely to help them get away from their jobs? We might think flipping is, because it's, you know, flip a house to get a big giant paycheck, and that's true. But all you're doing is trading a job for another job. Flipping is like a job because you got to keep flipping to keep the money coming in. So I mean, that's like a 5. Long-term rentals, though, hands down, will give you long-term equity and cash flow that will replace your job income. So that's maybe more like a 9. And wholesaling, again, it's like a job. Quite frankly, you stop wholesaling, you stop making money. So it's simple, you gotta keep working at it. With the rentals, over time, you build up substantial equity and cash flow. You can pay for property management. You don't have to manage your properties anymore. But back to the wholesaling, let's say that's more like a 3. Last one is credit. What do you have to have credit-wise to be able to do this? Well, you gotta have decent credit to be able to buy rentals successfully long-term. Wholesaling, you really don't need a lot of credit. So credit is not a big factor there. That's maybe like an 8. And let's just look in terms of this as how this can help you or hurt you. So if you have good credit, you can definitely buy flips and buy rentals. But if you, and you can certainly do wholesaling, but if you don't have good credit, let's say your credit's not good, maybe you can only do wholesaling. Maybe you can't do rentals, and you can't do flips. So maybe that's down to a 3 if your credit's not good. So let's add these up here. So we got 8 and 8 is 16, 4 is 20, 5 and 5 is 30, that's 33. Okay, let's go to the rental column. 4 and 8, that's 12, that's 22, that's 27, that's 36, and that's 39. Okay, and over here on the wholesaling side, we got 2 and 3 is 5, plus 2 is 7, plus 8 is 15, plus 3 is 18, plus 8 is 26, okay? Well, as you can see here, clearly in this situation, rentals is beating out buying flips and doing wholesaling as far as a decision point or a logic behind the decision process when it comes to choosing to flip, rentals, or wholesale based on these variables here. That's essentially how the decision matrix works. Now, I'm not saying you have to only go with this decision. It just helps you bring some rationale to an emotional decision, okay? Now, most people would say, I'm going to go for the rentals. 39 clearly beats out 33 and 26. But maybe there's something innate in you, some, you know, your father did rentals and he basically ran them into the ground, and, you know, health-wise, and you just say, I'll never do that no matter what. It makes the most sense for me, but I don't want to be owning all these rentals. It's a limiting belief. It's drunk monkeys. We get it. But the fact is, you can still decide something else. This just allows you to see logic and rationale of what's really important in making those decisions. So I hope this helps you guys. It's called a decision matrix. I learned it years ago. Applied it for almost any situation you can think of. Relationships, finances, investing, your job, you know, buying a car. It's hit me. You can put all that on here, and it helps you make a better, clear-minded decision. Okay, we'll see you in the next video. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.